What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Lieutenant Nathaniel Flint of the Landship Scorpios, and today I'm doing something a little different. That's right, I, for the last few years, have gotten into tabletop RPG, TTRPGs. That's tabletop role-playing game. I've been doing a few things, DMing, stuff of that nature, especially in 5e, although I have been doing a deep dive in a few other systems lately, and I thought what would be a cool thing for the channel is to do one video on steampunk in tabletop, or steampunk in 5e, and kind of talk about that. I think there's a lot there already, but in prepping for this video, I realized it was going to be a massive undertaking, a huge gamble, and a massive project that I might not finish. So I lowered the thought to really talk about 5e and some things, and that was too big. So we are going to do a smallest of the small of talk about 5e, steampunk, tabletop, kind of what to go into. I'm going to talk about some steampunk friendly settings in 5e that already exist that you may not have heard about. I really want to showcase other 5e material that you may not be familiar with, especially since I'm not someone who's super in love with Hasbro or the current Wizards of the Coast. So I'm definitely want to support some of the third parties that I found throughout my time, and in prepping for this video have really deep dived into a bunch of third party content that is amazing, that I want to get out there. The thing is it's going to be a longer video, so I'm going to do my best to keep it short, and if you guys like it, let me know. I can plan to do other videos. I would love to do a steampunk monsters of 5e, talk about where I got the stat blocks from, what they kind of do, what's different. I want to talk about character class, character races, talk about steampunked items to give your players, things of that nature. Doing even a cursory thing in this video would make this video massive. Absolutely chunky. So instead, we are going to go about it a little bit differently. So the first thing I want to do is, what is steampunk? I have a video of that. Bing, bing, bing. You know, we'll use cards for this one, wherever that ends up. There are plenty of Steampunk 101 videos on YouTube for you to peruse. And if you even are considering watching this video, there's a very good chance you know what steampunk is. The absolute boiled down version of my 101 video is steampunk is basically Victorian science fiction. It is the use of old technology to basically make new or futuristic technology. Using steam, clockwork, cogs, some diesel engine technology to make things like jetpacks, airships, futuristic tanks, laser guns, time travel technology, all these things. There is definitely that kind of Victorian science fiction thing about it. Get your inspiration from Jules Verne, H.G. Wells, stuff like that. It is a very wide genre. As you'll see in my 101 video, it branches a lot of different things, and the more you look at it, the more you realize more and more and more and more encompass steampunk. So it is a little difficult to nail down. It is probably for the best that you think top hats, airships, ridiculous mustaches, corsets and parasols, things of that nature. So the first thing I want to do is, you're running a 5e campaign, you're a DM or you're a player trying to convince your DM to let it go a little steampunky. So my question is, how steampunk do you want to go? Steampunk at its base, depending on the flavor and the steampunk that you're actually looking at, some of it is more science fiction. Some of it is more alternate history with no magic and like only things. The steampunk group I'm a part of, citizensofantipher.com, is based on a very practical steampunk. You're allowed to take actual science, actual inventions, actual things, and push them to their extreme, but you're not allowed to just BS stuff. Like, it's a very practical look at what steampunk would be. So some people are like, no magic, no this, no that. It's technology based. But that would be absolutely crapping on a massive chunk of the steampunk community and steampunk lore and steampunk material that is out there that does involve, like, magic, magitech, crystals, things of that nature. So how steampunk do you want to go with it? What flavor do you want? Oh, we're going steampunk, so can I use wizards in my world? Yeah, why not? Wizards are basically scholars. That fits in a steampunk world, especially if you're going to have magic, if you're doing Lovecraftian, where there's that ancient, forgotten, like, rituals and spells. That fits right in, so why change it? But some people want something a little different, which is why in the class section, I'll try to touch on things that are not magic-based. I know that non-magical healers is something people want to look for. There are different surgeon classes and things that they have. Griffin Saddlebag has the Grim Surgeon Rogue class. At one point, I did see the Combat Surgeon class that I had a lot of difficult researching for this video. I'm pretty sure I played a one-shot where I was a non-magical healer that I'm just having a lot of difficult refinding where that was again. But you absolutely don't have to. Spells can exist and do in many steampunk worlds and things of that nature. But if you want to switch up how it feels, you can adapt a magic system seamlessly into a steampunk world. And this is my idea on how to do that. So I have a game, Wild Araz, using RPG Maker. I wanted certain things to work in it, and I couldn't get rid of the magic system in it, so I had to reflavor it. And I think that system works great for 5e. That system is, instead of magic and mana and things of that nature, what you have is steam power, and you reflavor all the magical stuff as being fantastical steampunk inventions that you would see in any steampunk setting. So you got magical healing, lay on hands. Maybe you have some kind of, like, bio band-aid that heals up your wounds, a little robot that self-stitches, maybe a serum from a mad scientist that kind of accelerates your immune system. You gotta cast a fireball, it's a grenade. You gotta do a lightning thing, maybe you have a lightning gauntlet. There's all these ways to reflavor. But we have spell slots. How does that work when I have a gadget that is clockwork power, that is, doing a wall of swords, wall of blades? That doesn't really make sense. Well, it kind of can. So what I did is switch out mana with steam power. So in 5e, we have a spell slot system where you have certain level spells, certain spells and equipment take certain leveled of spells, and you have a certain amount of them that refill at a long rest. So why not steampunkify that? Take the steam power system, but instead of spell slots, you have steam cartridges. Weaker spells or weaker, inventions or effects take smaller cartridges. Level 1 steam cartridges, you can have a bunch of them, or massive fireballs or like ray gun disintegrations take a lot of power. So those steam cartridges are a lot bigger and you have a lot fewer of them and they are more precious. Of course, if you run out of level 1 steam cartridges for your magic missiles or your, I don't know, your Mandalorian little drone missile strikes. Instead, you can upcharge them. And oh, what do you know? If you upcharge them with more power, they are more powerful themselves. Flavor-wise, it just feels like it works. Long rests, well, that's where they are basically charging and they need to build up steam. Your abilities that lets you regain a spell slot, maybe that's a hand crank that you are cranking something up really quickly using an action, which is giving pressure to one of the steam charges, giving you that recharge back in an instant. That could work for some sorcerer abilities, as well as some of the short rest abilities that give you spell slots. There's just a lot of ways to reflavor it in this way. It could take a lot of work of going through what you actually have access to and finding a way to flavor it as an invention or as an effect of an invention, but it really isn't that hard and can really drastically change the feeling of your steampunk world. I'm not joking. This is an amazing way to reskin. I'm a big on, when I give DM advice, a huge proponent of reskinning and reflavoring what already exists, that already works, that you already understand its CR. So, in a good description and reflavoring really changes the feel of what something is and can give your players an entire new experience. So you don't need to get rid of magic in your steampunk world in order to explain away how these effects manifest and how they work. Combined on top of that, that player characters are already supposed to be once in a generation heroes, especially as you level up. It makes a lot of sense that these characters would have all of these gizmos and gadgets, especially all in one place, that rapidly change what they can do and how they can achieve their goals. Also, this wouldn't be a video about changing 5e if I didn't talk about maybe you should use a different system if it doesn't fit for the flavor of steampunk you want. I will tell you, as I'm deep diving into Call of Cthulhu, I feel Call of Cthulhu as a system would fit so many like pulp storylines and feels. It is insane. Call of Cthulhu is a great thing. It's amazing for horror, but I think it's great for the adventure genre as well. It does make you feel more, as a player, you're more vulnerable and you are definitely more fragile. But the flavor and the type of mechanics it chooses to focus on does make sense for a more grounded experience with your party. It makes you more careful, the stakes are higher, and not everyone is an action movie star. It does feel a little bit more like you're just a person who's on an adventure. There is, of course, I believe it's Pulp Cthulhu. It is a Call of Cthulhu supplement that has a lot of player-based stuff that buffs you up and gets you a little bit more as like the film hero instead of a horror, you're a victim waiting to be picked off. And that could give you a little bit more survivability. I 100% suggest it for a steampunk story. You don't need the eldritch monsters. You don't even need to be trying to make your characters go mad in order to get the same feeling across of being just an adventure. However, you can reflavor the madness mechanics to awe and have people be dumbstruck by things that they're seeing on their adventure. Journey to the Center of the Earth could bring you fear and make you go mad on the journey, but you could also be struck awe by the glorious new discoveries you're seeing in this strange new world. Also want to talk about Westward, which is often pointed to for steampunk TTRPGs. I did not buy it myself, but a cursory glance, it is definitely trying to be the steampunk TTRPG. It looks cool. It is very cheap to get into, so I can't help but recommend it. I also see a lot of people pointing to GURPS. GURPS is another one I'm not super familiar with, but apparently GURPS works extremely well for a steampunk airship pirate kind of thing, whatever flavor you want to go to. So for the sake of completion in this video, go to GURPS. Now we reach the part of the video, I am running out of time, to talk about steampunk friendly settings in 5e itself. Some of these are staples and they're sometimes the only thing you can find on Steampunk 5e, but some of these I really think deserve a highlight, and they will be coming up in other videos that we do Steampunk TTRPG in. First, it's the one that you're going to hear about all the time. It's Eberron. In 5e, it's Eberron Rising from the Last War. This book is fantastic. Eberron is very unique in a 5e settings world, but it's also absolutely famous or infamous in 5e circles. This is the book that gives you the Warforged, the robot race for players to play as and for them to fight against. It's also the book that brings the Artificer class to 5e. It's also available in Tasha's. This is an amazing book. It has steampunk gadgets as magic items. It has lightning trains, but also Eberron as a setting is fantastic. It is this fantasy version of World War I. It's like a post-World War I world where the world was ravished by this war of unimaginable technology and magic and creatures and biomancy and all these things that absolutely devastated the world and how it runs. And after the war, the world trying to rebuild itself is struggling with that, and that's kind of where you go. It's companies that own a lot of political power. It's a lot of turmoil and people wanting better. Kings are falling. Cabals and companies trying to vie for control. Crime on the rise. All these kind of disenfranchised soldiers returning from the war. I mean, even the Warforged are these, we're sentient beings, but we were created as weapons. And now we're kind of dumped. No one cares about us. And a lot of people hate us because we're like the poster child for that huge war. We don't have a home. What do you do when you return home and no one wants you? No one cares about you, and you kind of don't have a purpose anymore. People are tired of war, but there's people who all they know is war, and they want power, they want control, and they want riches. So people trying to start up other wars with these people who are tired, exhausted, disenfranchised. So many good story ideas out of this setting. I can't help but talk about it, and honestly, it deserves its spot. It's airships and lightning trains and what that does to a world. The shrinking of this world for $1 for people to profit on, but also for the everyman. Magic is more prevalent, so even non-magical folks can benefit from that. There's so much to talk about. This is an allegory for what happened in our world in our roaring 20s and the technology that came out of the First World War and the disenfranchisement. There's so much to talk about. This is an amazing setting for your steampunk world. I also want to talk about the world of Zobeck. I believe it's in the Midgard campaign setting. This is from Kobold Press. They're famous for like the Tome of Beasts as well as the Midgard setting. Honestly, if you've talked third-party 5e, there's no way their names have not come up. But Zobeck, the Clockwork City, I found this and I had to purchase it. And when I was looking through it, It was amazing what I found. This is an entire setting. This city is extremely steampunk. Actually, the world of Midgard and Kobold Press is going to come out a lot when we do other Steampunk 5e videos. It adds a ton to your game. This Clockwork City deals a lot with the haves and have-nots, the effect technology has on making the rich richer. They just had a ousting of their king. They had like a semi-revolution and kind of dealing with the effects of that. And what people think. There's also this like the police versus like the criminals, but also like the freedom fighters kind of feel. It is very interesting. It brings a lot of steampunk content, magic items, locations, as well as stuff for steampunked characters and backgrounds. And of course their Gearforged race from Midgard, which we 100% will talk about in another video. Honestly, if you're DM or if you are like, I want to add some steampunk in the world, but Eberron isn't it, Zobeck should be your number 2 spot to look into. It is an amazing setting to look into. It's also pretty cheap, on the cheap side. It is worth the bang for your buck, and Kobold Press is going to come up a lot in our talk of steampunk stuff, and they're just a solid 5e third party, so you definitely want to check them out. Next up, I want to talk about a newcomer in 5e that I'm extremely excited to have backed, but also I think is really relevant to steampunk in 5e. That's the setting of Druskenvald, which you can find in the Legends of Avantris book, The Crooked Moon. The Crooked Moon brings the setting of Druskenvald. It is very folk horror, Victorian horror, things of that. So if you're looking for a horror game, it's great anyways, but I want to talk about it in its steampunk context. This will come up in other videos when we talk about some steampunk stuff. But I want to talk about in Druskenvald, they have a few regions. They have different regions with different flavors of horror tropes, but I definitely want to talk about Chernabos, which is like a weird west, Hellion, like 7 deadly sins, demon west, where they have like a gold-plated train that brings you around the region or brings you from another region to Chernabos. Gold-plated, runs on soul energy, constantly trying to get you with one of your vices. Absolutely amazing, gambling, crazy weird west towns, a gold rush, but also not gold, this type of like demon metal rush stuff, and even has like the mystic gambling den out in the middle of the desert that people can't find, kind of like Curse of the Sierra Madre from Fallout. Like, so many cool plot hook ideas. It is an awesome setting idea. There's also Edwardia, straight up steampunk, no doubt. Edwardia is home to their Curseborn. It's foggy London, terrifying moors like the Hunt of the Baskerville. It is lightning rods and airships and mad scientist experiments and crazy class warfare. The Curseborn have that theme of the two extremes, the extreme rich, but also you're living in extreme like poverty or terrible working conditions. The amazing technology, but also how that oppresses the have-nots. And that is absolutely like soaked in Edwardia, an amazing place for your steampunk setting. So cool if you're looking for a steampunk horror kind of thing. Checking out Druskenvald as a setting is a must-have. There's a few other that will kind of work, that kind of scrape the steampunk feel, but I definitely would suggest Druskenvald for those 2 reasons alone. It is such a good addition, and Crooked Moon is new. It will come up in other videos for sure. It has other steampunk nuggets in there. And I want to talk real quick about the supplement from Nord Games, Remarkable Shops and Their Wares. In this book, it's like a book of all these fantastical shops. They do have Gimble and Sons that I'm including as a setting. It can work in any game, but it's this fantastical shop of an airship that is all clockwork, and Gimble and Sons run it. And it's a fantastical shop of clockwork things and all this technological boons, magic items, things of that nature. Really cool to just drag and drop into your campaign or your setting. But I think it's worth checking out. I think the items and stuff they describe are pretty cool. It's just a really cool thing, and I included it in the settings because it didn't really feel, like in and of itself, it doesn't really feel like a magic item thing. It feels like a setting, like a place you can go to. And it's worth checking out. So that's by Nord Games, and they will come up in another video. And for now, that's really all I have. I don't want to go too long with this. Also, the camera's running out of batteries. But that's kind of the idea for videos like this, talking about 5e stuff. To keep this video short, I am not getting over into other things. But if you like this, you're interested in more deep dives, I have loads of things I want to talk about. I want to push some third-party things that have some great steampunk nuggets in them. I went through all of the 5e content I could to really look into what steampunk stat blocks, what clockwork creatures, what things are vibe, magic items, class things. So I have sections that were meant for this video. They're things like steampunk friendly classes, steampunk races, an entire thing on clockwork spells and clockwork as a magic thing. Yeah, that's from Kobold Press, really cool. Steampunk gear, steampunk enemies. So I just had all this stuff that is a little bit much to get into in one video. So if you are interested in that, please let me know in the comments below. Like, share this video. I need to know this is the kind of content you want to see, but it's steampunk content, and I've been getting into 5e, so might as well add it to the channel. It's an area that hasn't been discussed, and we're waiting for Rivet Wars to come out, so I kind of like it. I also want to talk about, speaking of Rivet Wars, Steamforged Games, their epic encounters, which kind of helps DMs. It is like a board game, but also can be used in your 5e settings. They just did one that is all clockwork Warforged, like the hidden construct kind of themed. It's really interesting. I haven't deep dived into epic encounters, but I mean, it's great time for this video to kind of shout it out. Not sponsored, but would love to be. So it's a really cool thing, so I'll just shout that out as well. That's the kind of things I want to deep dive in these other videos. So if you are interested in shorter videos that are talking about steampunk friendly classes and going through where to find them, clockwork spells with some things, races, things like that, let me know. I would love to talk more steampunk TTRPG with you guys and help you know where to find them and all these various things. And if you have suggestions of videos and settings and things that you want to see or things I would have missed, please leave them down below. Even if I've already found them, it's worth it for the one I haven't found that I can bring into my other videos. And let's keep it a little bit on topic, I guess. If you also want to include, do you have a steampunk setting in a TTRPG thing that hasn't been discussed, or in a 5e thing, let me know. I would love to cover them as well. Maybe we'll have to deep dive some of these settings and get a little bit more into them than I did here. Would love to hear of it. I'm about to lose camera battery, so without further ado, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in the next video. Comment down below, like, and subscribe for more steampunk content, and maybe we'll do a few more steampunk TTRPG stuff. So, thank you guys so much, and I will see you in the next video.